Deleted session, May 6, 1970, Wednesday. Now, good evening. I will have a few remarks before dictation. For the record, again, I suggest the running and the up and down movements. These are imperative, and tell him I said so. Now, I have two simple exercises. I want these done every day. They take hardly any time, but will be most effective. I want first of all, Ruber, quite simply, to imagine your penis straight. This is to be done once at a time only. Do you follow me? Rob said, yes. Then he should think, it is done. Let it straightened, and let it go at that. Have him do it out of the corner of his mind, as it were, and whenever it comes to his mind. Now, I want you, in the same way, to picture his arms straight in normal position and follow the same procedure. Is this clear? Rob said, yes. They said, now each of you may do the same exercise for yourself also, if you want to. The important thing is to do it easily. Ruber can picture, mentally, your straight penis more easily than he can his own arms. When you do this sort of thing, one for the other, your love is added, gives extra force, and the love between you is relatively uncluttered, and can be directed well in this fashion. Any impeding subconscious ideas are bypassed. Now, the book that you have just received from Prentice. Rob noted, psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain, they said, will have an important effect upon Ruber, and a beneficial one, helping to increase his confidence in his own abilities. The present notes he has written to himself are highly effective, and he should follow them, and the procedure they suggest. What he felt this week, and in beginning his book, was the rousing of his energies. Then he can direct them. Now, when he feels a sense of exhilaration, he knows the subjective feeling I refer to. Then have them direct it, that energy, to his arms. You have been holding on to your own symptoms, while Ruber still has his. They are like notes to yourself, reminding you that things are still not as good as they should be. Tell yourself that you can help yourself, and Ruber far better without the disease caused by the symptoms. Once they were reminders that you also had a part to play in the entire situation. You accept that fact now, and therefore no longer require them. The need for them is over. Once they were meant to promote your psychological understanding, but now they can only impede your progress, and you are also slightly resentful at Ruber, feeling that he is somewhat responsible by still maintaining his symptoms for your own. Rob said, yes, I know that. It is somewhat for this reason that you do not more actively use the positive encouragement of which Ruber was earlier speaking. You feel you are helping him sufficiently enough through all your efforts, and withhold this more positive approach out of that resentment. Do you follow me here? Rob said, yes, All of this verifies what I have learned on my own through the pendulum. They said, this also serves to punish you for the resentment, since by not giving this more positive support, which incidentally is far more effective than you would imagine, you also to some degree help to hold back that which you both want so badly. I thought I would unravel this little puzzle, though I see from what you say that you had already arrived at some of these conclusions. You are also, as you know, relatively of a solitary nature, and to some degree, and because of misinterpretation, distrustful and resentful at the thought that suggestion is so important between individuals. You would still like to believe in the importance of suggestion and telepathy, but only when it suits your purposes, and to minimize it in those areas that are somewhat touchy. You do not like to believe that an individual can be so influenced because of your background. This makes you want to isolate yourself, and also prevents you from benefiting from suggestions yourself, and benefiting others through your own suggestions in certain areas. In other areas, you accept and utilize the nature of suggestion. Now, give me a moment. A small remark. The resentment of which I spoke earlier caused some overreaction on your part, when you would have visited your landlady over the dog episode. When a call was sufficient, these are simply pointers. You may take your break. The good news, however, has been hinted at, but not yet completely developed. It has to do with the paperback rights and a good price for them. Now, you are working towards several breakthroughs in your own painting, actually a three-way breakthrough. One intuitional discovery will open into two others. Creative dissatisfaction triggers in you new intuitive developments, and this one will be fairly important. On your relationship now, yours and Ruber's, unconsciously you inspire each other. The inspirational aspects, however, can be strengthened and magnified on both of your parts. The positive approach on your part, mentioned earlier, can indeed be interpreted in such a light. You feel with some justification that Ruber in his own concern forgets your lingering symptoms, and he should make an effort now to use his abilities to help rid you of these. Often, you can help each other quite effectively. Direct your energies toward the other, and bypass those impediments that help prevent you from using your own psychic energy, as well as you should in your own behalf, so that you can help Ruber in some areas where he is weak, and he can help you in some areas where you are weak. You get a full concentration of healing energy in this way, and direct it through love. In last night's session, Ron noted, for Jen's ESP class, they said rather extraordinary amounts of energy were released here, to the benefit of all concerned. Psychic and spiritual peaks are experienced by those in the room during such sessions, and the subjective experience of the students can then be used by them as a reminder of moments of psychic understanding that they seldom achieve. Now, I do not mind you chasing the cat, but chasing my foot is another matter. This energy is then picked up by the families of the students, and their lives indirectly benefit. Robert's own system is charged as the times. The negative ions are multiplied in the room itself. I did want to remind him that many of his classes and our class sessions have this effect, and again remind him the notes he has made himself are excellent for him. The notes particularly about energy, and with his small experiment about arising this morning. He immediately showed himself that such was the case. I decided to give you this material this evening because it is important to both of you, and also because I will probably finish up the chapter I have begun in one rather long session, though it may run into another. If you have any questions, please ask them. Ross said, "No, I guess I've already answered the ones I had in mind." They said, "I had intended to chat with you for a while. Now that you are back with steady sessions once more, I need not use every session for dictation as long as I know my book is doing well. I thought you might perhaps miss the more easy give and take if every session was dictation, though of course most sessions will be. But if you have nothing to say to me, how can we chat?" Ram noted, Seth and I did have a chat until 10:38, without notes. Our talk covered quite a few topics and was very enjoyable, although I was in a somewhat quiet and displayed mood this evening. I wasn't at my best, but did rouse enough to have a good exchange with Seth. We will have to do this more often. Habit is strong too. There were some points I would have liked to make notes about.